Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines. I'm giddy because I was going to do a kazoo introduction, but I decided against it for whatever reason. It is Wednesday, April 14, and it is a pleasure to be here at Coffee and Headlines. This is our daily get together where we exchange headlines of things that are going on in Puerto Vallarta, in the state of Jalisco, in our country, Mexico, and we exchange tips, questions, ideas, thoughts, suggestions on how to best take advantage and best enjoy our lives here in Puerto Vallarta as a community of English local that picks their noses when they are broadcasting live. What can I tell you? I do. It is always a pleasure to see you. If you are new to the broadcast, please let us know. You can do so by writing the word new on your comment, and that way we will give you a nice, happy welcome. Today we have all kinds of interesting news to share. We have, what else do we have? Yeah, we have vaccine news, we have water news, we have police news, we have a walking tour, of course, and this is absolutely wonderful. Mijal says, Luna, turn around. Let me see. Hold on. Luna, turn around. There you go. Anyhow, here we are. Let me see who is in the house before we get started with our broadcast. Brett, it's great to see you again. Brett's going to become our unofficial Mazatlan correspondent because as we want to learn more about these Islas Marias moving forward, we're going to rely on someone that is involved as Brett can be. But it's nice to know what's going on in Mazatlan. We have dear friends in San Miguel de Allende that occasionally let us know what things are going on or what is it like in their cities these days. Sherry is joining us from the Ozarks as usual. It's great to see you. Fluvial is in the house. Hello, Lorraine. It's great to see you. Jill is set to go. She says these boots are made for walking. That is absolutely wonderful. Let's see what else we have. Michael says, yay, Walking Wednesday, indeed. Let's see what else. A nice crowd this morning. It's always a pleasure to get together here. Dave says, the delicious low coastal clouds got me right in the mood for Walking Wednesday. Well, it's funny because it's early in the morning and I'm already feeling schwitzy. In fact, the household of Coffee and Headlines, as in this house, has now officially turned to iced coffee for the remainder of the summer. Or for the most part, I'll be drinking iced coffee instead of the regular stuff. Just because, Luna, don't sigh. I mean, don't yawn. It's like you're going to make me sleepy. Let's see what else. What? My afternoon miraculously opened up yesterday afternoon and I discovered there were fabulous beach clubs just 2 blocks from my office. Do tell. Luna just said, what the fuck? Probably. Uh, oh my God, my sister's being vaccinated. Qué gusto me da. Felicidades. Mwah. I'm so very happy to hear that. Very, very, very happy. Let's see what else. Sue is celebrating a birthday. Happy birthday, Sue. Happy birthday, Sue. Happy birthday, Sue. Where are my sound effects? I hope you have a great one. Where is the best place to get current information about a round trip following all guidelines between Alberta and Puerto Vallarta? Carly, I wish I could help you, but we are about locals. So we concern ourselves with information that has to do with people that live here, not from people that fly here. There are tons of resources available online for this. So I would suggest you look in your favorite travel destination website of choice. Earl, is always great to see you. Let's see what else we have. Enjoying Pete's French roast. What's your favorite coffee? Asks Jody Jenner. My favorite coffee is the one that keeps me awake. I'm really not a coffee specialist, but as long as it keeps me awake and alive and I can drink it, it's a good thing. Fernando's excited, arriving in Puerto Vallarta tomorrow evening. Mazel tov. Absolutely. Let's see what else. Enrique got his second Moderna vaccine, so I'm all booked for Puerto Vallarta for May. Good for you. Exactly. Like I'm a travel agent. I'm not. But again, there's, the best place to look for things like that is, I go to Travelocity, I go to Expedia, I go to things like that. I don't know that I can think of any other place to go. And of course, the airlines themselves a lot of times publish their own special deals, but one has to be mindful of that and one needs to pay attention. But that's about as good as I can contribute in that front. That said, let's get on with the news. Okay, so as it was mentioned yesterday, several neighborhoods, including El Centro, El Cerro, and Emiliano Zapata, and Cinco de Diciembre, if you live in any of these neighborhoods, your water may have been cut off early this morning. This is related to the work that CEPAL is conducting along Insurgentes Street, where they're installing a ginormous big new pipe. And water service is expected to return at 4 o'clock today. Here is the little note that was published by CEPAL Vallarta. So it is a good thing to know. So you may have to go through life today feeling a little stinky if you didn't get a chance to shower in the morning, but it's not the end of the world. Let's see. 3 months ago, I'll get to that in a second. 3 months ago, Navy Captain Fernando Viveros Hernandez was sent to Puerto Vallarta to oversee the police department. This was as a result of the kidnapping of Felipe Tomé and the murder of former Jalisco Governor Aristoteles Sandoval. The press bulletin that was issued by City Hall indicates that it was a limited assignment. However, there are other sources that also indicate that Captain Viveros has had far too many disagreements with several of the local police commanders who are dissatisfied with some of the decisions that he has made. It is what it is. We'll have to see what happens and who is going to be the new chief of the local police. Yesterday, we also talked about the saldo blanco or white balance, indicating that there were no tourism-related deaths in Puerto Vallarta during the 2-week vacation period. Today, we learned from Vallarta Independiente that, the story that Vallarta Independiente published expands to the entire state of Jalisco, and we do learn that 6 deaths did take place during the 2 weeks, but elsewhere, not in Puerto Vallarta. As regrettable as this is, the number is lower than 2 years ago in 2019, when 21 deaths were registered. Only 1 tourism-related death was reported last year in the whole state. But of course, this was atypical given the COVID-19 related circumstances at the time. Um, we also talked recently about teachers getting their vaccine, and according to Health Undersecretary Hugo Lopez Gatell, Nayarit will be among the first states to begin vaccinating their teachers, along with Tamaulipas, Veracruz, Coahuila, and Chiapas. This is excellent news, as the entire country is trying to reactivate schools and education. Just think for a second about all those children and teenagers and young adults who have been unable to continue with their studies in a suitable manner, and it's a good thing that we're getting at least a little closer to resuming schools and education. Meanwhile, also in Nayarit, restaurants are hoping for more relaxed restrictions at this time, hoping to be able to welcome 75% of their capacity and close later than 11 p.m., which is their current restriction. Last time I had dinner after 11, I had heartburn for days. Let's see. Vaccine. Yes, several countries have been working hard at developing their own COVID-19 vaccine, and Mexico is not an exception. Maria Elena Alvarez, who oversees the country's National Science and Technology Council, has announced that Mexico's Patria vaccine should be ready for production by the end of the year. Between now and then, there will be 3 phases of clinical trials with between 90 and 100 volunteers to ensure that the vaccine works as it should. So let me now take a pause from the news and take a look at your comments. Let's see what we see. Let's see, we saw that. Let's see what else. Let's see. We read that. Enrique got it. Yes, we got that. I want my vaccine as well. Claude, I hear you. I try to stay patient about that. Matthew, I enjoyed our musical exchange as well this morning. Thank you very much for the messages. And maybe we should talk about these composers that we discussed this morning on the next Music Monday, because for the rest of you, Matthew and I found ourselves exchanging information about some of the composers and the performers that made cartoon music so amazing during the 50s, and the musicians that are keeping all that music alive today. If you are curious about cartoon music, like from the old Bugs Bunny cartoons and all that stuff, please write the words Bugs Bunny in your comments, and that will be the topic that we will discuss this coming Monday. If not, I have other things on my docket. Let's see what else. Your A in Mazel Tov is too flat. Make it a long A, and you would, as you would in Spanish. Ricky, thank you very much. Let me remind you that there is a subtle but important difference between asking for help in corrections and receiving them unsolicited. I love asking for help. I hate being corrected when I am not requesting it, but I appreciate what you just said. Jody, is it Jody or Jody or Jode? Same thing. Please don't correct the guy in front of the microphone. It is what it is. It's like it's flawed. And my Yiddish is never going to be perfect, just like your Spanish is never going to be perfect. So let's be friends. Let's see what else we have. Thank you for that, Jill. You have more patience than I do. Let's see what else we have. Doesn't everybody have a lots of comments about water tanks. I love it. I see one Bugs Bunny. I see another Bugs Bunny. Okay, Bugs Bunny. Okay, so thank you very much. We now know what we are going to discuss in the next Music Monday. So it is a wonderful thing. Let me now switch over to the weather and see what is going on. Kikelomo Adedeji, I hope I don't mess up your last name. She loves my Yiddish. So there. Today it is 25 degrees, feels like 27. Humidity is 60%. Again, it is increasing. And the temperature in Fahrenheit is 77 degrees. Oh, what a day. What a lovely day, says Carrot Weather. I wonder what is going on. Maybe Carrot Weather is preparing something evil for us, as Carrot Weather usually does. The weather forecast for today: clear through the day, high temperature 30, low temperature 19. Tomorrow, Thursday, we're going to have another clear day, high temperature of 31, low temperature 19. And on Friday, same thing, clear day, high temperature 31, low temperature 18. Yay! So, oh my God, here you go, guys. I love it. I love it. Oy vey. Okay. Oy vey, oy vey, oy vey, oy vey. Just want to say that what you do every day is very difficult to keep it going and interesting and funny. Bravo. Thank you very much, Angelo. When are we going to go get the bread? That's what I want to know. ¿Cuándo vamos a comprar el pan? It is sure warming up the last few days. Oh, yes. It's back to keeping a little face towel while we're doing the broadcast on a daily basis. Okay, so I want to tell you about something wonderful that requires a bit of explanation. There is such a thing, I've discovered, as the Stratford Festival, which is a theater festival that runs from April to October in the city of Stratford, Ontario, in Canada. Now, the festival's primary focus is to present productions of William Shakespeare's plays, but it also runs a wide variety of theater, from Greek tragedy to Broadway styles musicals and contemporary works. Now, as any other arts festivals, the Stratford Festival has been hit hard with the pandemic, but has blossomed rather creatively in the things that they present online. And of course, these are by subscription, but they have some previews that you can watch for free. And what I'm going to show you is so fascinating, at least to me, that I am tempted to get a subscription just to watch the whole series. And it is two productions. One is Undiscovered Sonnets, and the other one is Up Close and Musical. This is going to be premiered today at 7 p.m. and it'll remain free for maybe a couple of days. Let me tell you about Undiscovered Sonnets because it is such a brilliant idea. And of course, this is all inspired by the works of William Shakespeare. We have to remember that sonnets are written with a very specific structure in terms of the number of lines, in terms of the number of syllables, so forth and so on. Well, in Undiscovered Sonnets, you get this host or hostess that is sitting in her own home and remotely connects with a couple that is madly in love and asks questions of this couple as to why and how they fell in love and why they love the most at the most of each other. And meanwhile, three professional sonneteers, as in individuals who have the skill set to write sonnets, are paying attention to this question and answer that is going on. And these sonneteers are allowed to ask the couple in love one specific question each about anything they want. And then the hostess continues talking to the couple, and in less than 5 minutes, these three sonneteers have to produce a poem, a sonnet about the love that this particular couple feels for one another, and then the couple gets to award or decide which one is the sonneteer that captured their feelings most accurately. So the challenge of having to write not only a poem, but a nicely structured sonnet in less than 10 minutes just blew my mind. I mean, if you've been here for a while, you know that I'm fascinated by words and language. So I discovered this by chance on YouTube, and I was totally enamored with the concept. And then Up Close and Musical, of all the musical productions that the Stratford presents, there are these amazing singers that yours truly had never heard about before, and they perform these solo concerts in which they, at least what I've been able to watch online, is a wonderful selection of songs from musical theater and other sources where the songs are so beautifully crafted. So I found myself really fascinated by this free production that I watched last week. I'm definitely not going to miss the one that is coming this week, that would be tomorrow, and I strongly recommend that you put it in your calendar. And that was my big, long explanation about that. And of course, I will leave you with the show notes that will have a link to this particular production. Let me take a quick look at your comments, and then we can switch over to Walking Wednesday. Let's see. Here comes the heat. We've seen that. I love it. Oh, I see. Oh, What a Day is a reference from Mad Max Fury Road. Thank you very much, Logan. I didn't know that. I see that some of you are well acquainted with the Stratford. Thank you very much. I am so very happy to discover their offerings, and I may actually subscribe to the channel just to hear more of these fabulous singers. And of course, the competition. Who knew that there is such a thing as a sonneteer in this day and age? It was absolutely wonderful. Let's see what else. Okay, I think we are ready to walk. And today we are walking downtown to where the galleries are. Boom. Oh yes, Guadalupe Sánchez it is.
Hello everyone. I am standing at the corner of Juárez and 31 de Octubre in El Centro, right in front of Woolworth. In fact, let's take a happy photo of the Woolworth facade.
Happy photo.
We'll do that right here. And today we're actually going to try to get away from the hustle and bustle of El Centro, and we are going to walk down a street that for many years had a large number of art galleries and restaurants and shops. It is called Guadalupe Sánchez, and it is parallel to Calle Juárez, just one block in. So what we're going to try to do today is get a sense as to what has happened to this street and how amazing is it today. Before we turn a right onto it, I'm going to take advantage of the fact that there is the beautiful Barcelona Tapas at a distance, a great restaurant to enjoy a scenic view of this side of town from, because it's elevated. So here we are, walking down Guadalupe Sánchez, and one of our first stops is going to be, in fact, our first stop is going to be Galería Colectica, one of my favorite art galleries in town.
Yes, it is.
And when we walk inside, you'll see why. And there it is. Let me first try to capture as much as I can of this beautiful mural on this side of the street.
Yes, it is.
And there you go. Let us cross the street and see what it is that we can find at this beautiful art gallery. Hola.
Hola.
¿Se puede?
Claro que sí.
I'm going to show you around. We're going to see what we have. Well, for starters, we see a whole wall dedicated to Lencho, who is a very well-known local artist. But what Kevin excels at here is traditional Mexican folk art of the highest quality.
Gorgeous stuff.
If Kevin is selling it, it's because this is the real deal. A lot of the pieces that Kevin features here are just so beautiful and detailed. Check out some of these alebrijes. They are absolutely gorgeous. And check out this other. I mean, these creatures are just so strange and unusual. Let's see.
And that was a quote
Bam.
from Beetlejuice.
And let's see what else we find here. Oh, artsy tapestries and lots of Katrinas. Oh my goodness. Let's see what we can find. It's not the season, but check out this cute little nativity sign. No, nativity collection of little dudes. I forget what they're called. Nativity scene, that's what they're called. But of course, I mean, right next to them is this gorgeous Katrina. Let's see if I can make her strike a pose. And she strikes a pose. Many more Katrinas here. Everywhere you go, from really teeny ones. I mean, these are barely 6 or 7 inches tall, to some monumental ones. Look at these gorgeous tapestries here. Really, really nice work. And let's see what else we can find. There's another exhibition room here where we see some work that looks like this was done by the Huichol. Yes, whenever I see little beads, I see Huichol art. Now, this is difficult for you to appreciate from a photograph, but for example, when I look at this piece, I know from conversations that I've had with Kevin in the past that if what is being used is micro beads, that means that the pieces are of top quality. Look at this beautiful rabbit. And there is just so much detail going on. Imagine having to place each one of those beads one by one. And then there are these gorgeous pieces that are made on animal skulls. So there you have it, folks. This was a quick look at the wonderful, whimsical world. Hasta pronto. Of Mexican folk art as curated by the amazing Kevin Simpson. There is no other person in this city that has this type of commitment to traditional Mexican folk art. And if you start to see all that confetti, not confetti, that plastic imitation paper, let me take a photo of it. There you go. This is because we are approaching one of the traditional tourist restaurants here in town, a Mexican restaurant that a lot of people like to visit, and it is called Pipi's. And I am standing literally at the corner. Let's take a quick photograph of the menu and see if we can take a look. Buenas tardes. ¿Puedo entrar a ver? Qué amable. So, this is Pipi's restaurant. That has been one of the places that a lot of people like to visit. Buenas tardes.
Except for that day.
Where
It's empty.
look at all the different brands, not brands, but look at all the different flavors of margaritas that you can get here. And yes, this has been a traditional restaurant since 1986. Muchas gracias, con permiso. And there's a gallery across the street, but it doesn't even have a name. And I'm actually 1 block away from where I also wanted to see what's going on, because somebody in the cluster recently mentioned that Café des Artistas had gone through a facade paint job. We want to see what that is about. Here is art for wear, a jewelry shop. Coming up is Galleria Corsica, another art gallery. Across the street is Galeria Omar Alonso, which specializes in photography. And here is the facade for Café des Artistas, which looks all painted and wonderful. Let's take a photo. Wow, that's amazing.
Thanks for the tip, Claude.
There you go. So this is actually, and down the street, you can also see there's a number of other galleries. Let me take a quick look. This is looking down Leona Vicario Street. And literally across from Café des Artistas is the Galería des Artistas. ¿Se puede pasar? Buenas tardes. This is a beautiful art gallery located right across the street from Café des Artistas. And this gives you an idea of what this end of the city continues to be when it comes to galleries and art. Wow. That is something, isn't it?
It's a Smurf.
Unfortunately, we don't have much time to explore this today, but I wanted to give you a sense as to, muchas gracias, as to what is still going on in this part of town. Now, all these galleries continue to stay open late during the art walk, which takes place on Wednesday nights. I'm not entirely sure if they close during the summer months or at what point. I'll certainly do some research before this piece is over, and we will let you know accordingly. Now, here's the main entrance to Café des Artistas. As you can see, the restaurant now occupies the entire block, and it is one of Puerto Vallarta's most renowned restaurants. And this is the corner where you can also find Sí Señor, another well-known Mexican restaurant. So this is probably a good point for us to stop. Guadalupe Sánchez continues for another 2 blocks, but this is pretty much the part of the street that has the most interesting things. So before I let you go, I'm going to take a final photograph. And now, as always, I'm going to thank you for walking with me, and I will see you again soon for another walk. See ya.
And that was our walk for today. What about that ginormous green sculpture? I said that it was a Smurf, but I meant to say that it was probably, the artist was probably a Shrek. I don't know. It was a great walk. It was great to be reminded that the art gallery scene in El Centro is still alive. Kimberly asks, is the art walk still happening? Yes, I understand that the art walk still takes place. However, I don't know when it stops in the springtime. It is a matter of checking out their Facebook page. For those that are not aware of the dynamic that has gone on in El Centro over the past 15 years, El Centro was always this very, very vibrant part of town with the art walk and so forth and so on. There used to be a lot of restaurants and shops and boutiques and this and that and the other. And between the fact that some of that business started shifting to Emiliano Zapata, the fact that at some point we had the swine flu, which took a huge blow in local business in the first decade of this century. Oh, that sounds like so long ago, but it was in the first decade of this millennium. El Centro has somehow slowly and progressively lost its fizzle, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that There's still the galleries. The galleries are still there and they're doing great, but there's not enough connectivity between the different businesses for one to be able to say, hey, I'm going to spend the whole afternoon and evening in El Centro. It's not like it used to be. If I saw myself walking through Emiliano Zapata, I can certainly plan all kinds of activities through an afternoon and an evening such that I would want to stay in the neighborhood for a long period of time. This is no longer happening in El Centro. It has to do with the economy. It has to do with the high prices of rents. And hopefully, El Centro will continue to find a way to stay relevant in the city and will continue to be a destination within the city. Let me take a quick look at some of your final comments before we sign off. Thank you for that, Sherry. Somebody, you're the second person to ask who's yelling. Well, there's always, Heather, there's always some interesting things being sold and purchased and so forth and so on down the street. And, I'm wearing a lavalier mic that is supposed to capture even less of the sound around me, but, it is what it is. Let's not forget Arte Viviente, a new artist co-op where my art hangs. Arte, which one is Arte Viviente? The name rings a bell, but I don't exactly know where it is or what it is. Angelo, if you're kind enough to share the Facebook page, maybe we can learn a little bit more about that. I am sure that my Shrek comments would offend some people, particularly the artist of the work, but was Shrek sitting on his cojones? It was fascinating, Ricky. I just kept looking at it and I could not draw my eyes away from it for a little while. But again, I had other things to do. Let's see what else. Oh, thank you very much, Rita. Art Walk until May 26th. Thank you very much for looking that up during the broadcast. It is very much appreciated. Where I ended was where I started weeks ago to ascend to Observation Plateau. Yes, that is correct. It was the same intersection. Let's see. El Centro really started a backslide when they closed the Malecon to traffic. Like it or not, that's what happened. I would only agree with you, David, ever so. I think there were a lot of things going on during that period. I would not be I don't consider myself informed enough to say that the closing of the Malecon to traffic was the one thing that caused the change in dynamics in El Centro. I think there was a lot of stuff going on, but certainly the removal of traffic along the Malecon changed the way we relate to El Centro, without a doubt. Let's see what else. Thank you for today's walk. Been to Pipi's, but never passed there. It's funny because I've never been to Pipi's in all the time that I've lived here in Puerto Vallarta. I've never been interested in the place, and that is a horrible thing to say because for all I know, they serve very Mexican, very good food, very good cocktails. For all I know, it's a really good deal. But I see so many tourists drawn to it. Like I see so many tourists drawn to a certain taco place on Basilio Vadillo that used to be one of my favorites. Now I think to myself, well, if there are so many people going to these places and they're all tourists, is it real or is it for tourists? So I end up going elsewhere, and that's my own bad, and I'm happy to acknowledge it. One of these days, I'll go to Pipi's and see what the fuss is all about. Let's see. Oh, Arte Viviente is the place. Yes. Okay. Now I connect. Yes, I know what Arte Viviente is. This is the other. Thank you very much, Heather. This is the other co-op that a number of local artists have put together, and I walked past it the other day. I've been meaning to walk in and explore it. Maybe I'll do that in one of my upcoming Walking Wednesday walks, if that is something you would like to see. Just write on your comments, because it is a nice place to see a good cross-section of what many local artists are creating. So please write Arte Viviente in your comments if you would like to see us taking a look at that place. So I'll be looking at your comments between now and the end of the broadcast. Let's see. Across from Si Senor, on the opposite wall of Café des Artistas is a dot matrix picture of Maria Felix. I have seen that, and it is absolutely fascinating. Let's see what else. Jam bada boom bam bam. I was one west of your condo. That's good to know, Salam. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you for that, Angelo. And I now know exactly what you were talking about. I was not entirely sure a second ago. Um, yes, Raymond is missing with his puns. We are ready, Raymond, wherever you are. Let's see, let's see, let's see. Oh, I see one Arte Viviente. I see two Arte Viviente. Okay, okay. Say hello to Marcia Blondin. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Marcia is a good friend of mine. We've collaborated. In fact, Marcia Blondin, and I think I've said this before, on the very first dinner that I ever had in Puerto Vallarta. This was December 27, 2001. I met Marcia Blondin. She was at the same dinner table as I was. I didn't know her. I had no idea what my life was going to be like for the rest of my Puerto Vallarta tenure, and I'm still here 20 years later. Yay. There you go. I have a date. Thank you, Angelo. Okay, so many requests for Arte Viviente, so I guess that we now know where we're walking next week. We now know what the music is going to be on Monday. So much for surprises, but ultimately what's most important to me is to provide content that keeps you curious, happy, intrigued, and wanting to learn more things. You make my day by offering your suggestions, and I very much appreciate that. So, that said, this is the end of today's broadcast. I hope you had a good time. I hope you learned something new. I hope you laughed a little bit. And if you got a little bit Gavotten about my Yiddish, well, it is what it is. Stay happy, stay cute, stay kind, stay healthy, stay safe, stay in touch, and I hopefully will see you sometime soon, maybe even tomorrow.